Hey, what's up, everybody? Harrison here, the Arabian Pleb. Welcome to the Arabian Pleb show. I'll just get stuck into it, but we're going to have a look at a clip from Two Worlds Collide podcast. I don't know what the bloke's name is, but I see his stuff quite often. Sometimes he's got good takes, sometimes he doesn't have good takes. But let's just jump over and get stuck into it.
Okay, so Ben Roberts-Smith just got arrested for alleged war crimes, and here's my thoughts. The government doesn't get to send Australia's best, most courageous men within our society to go fight in a foreign conflict and then judge us when we get home for what happened over there.
All right, so straight off the bat, yeah, like the government sending our bravest young men to go fight in a foreign conflict is fucked, and they shouldn't have done it in the first place. And to the extent that they did do it, and the reason why they shouldn't have done it in the first place is because the Taliban had nothing to do with 9/11. That's just a fact. And in actual fact, the leader of the Taliban at the time fucking hated bin Laden. He's on record saying that he's like a chicken bone stuck in his throat that he can neither swallow nor spit out. You know, the Americans will make the argument that, they were housing the bin Laden and Al Qaeda, and they were allowing them to have training camps in his country. But a terrorist attack can be planned anywhere. Like, there's nothing special about fucking Afghanistan. And a lot of the hijackers of 9/11 were, they were studying in Hamburg, Germany. They flew to the United States prior to the attack. They were planning the attack in the United States. So what do we now? Do we get to bomb the United States now? Do we get to fucking topple the United States government because some of the planning went on in their country? It's just fucking ridiculous, dude. But yeah. So what's he say? Let me just back it up.
Okay, so Ben Roberts-Smith just got arrested for alleged war crimes, and here's my thoughts. The government doesn't get to send Australia's best, most courageous men within our society to go fight in a foreign conflict and then judge us when we get home for what happened over there.
They don't get to send us over there and then judge us for what happened over there. Well, actually, they do, because there is rules of engagement, as defined, and these come from like the Geneva Convention and international law. But every SAS soldier every SAS soldier in Afghanistan carried a red card, and on the red card was the rules of engagement and what you're legally allowed to do and what you're legally not allowed to do. And definitely what you're not allowed to do is murder unarmed civilians. And that's what Ben Roberts-Smith is being accused of. Now, I don't know. I don't know that like he's 100% guilty of it. I mean, we're going to go and watch like some of the Four Corners documentary, which has like GoPro footage from some of the SAS soldiers. And allegedly, Ben Roberts-Smith is one of these soldiers where he's just shooting murdering an Afghan in cold blood, unarmed. He's got red prayer beads in his hand. So if that's Ben Roberts-Smith, then yes, that's a war crime. And yes, we get to judge you for that. Not just the government, but also the people who supposedly fucking, we have some say over our government, allegedly. So, is what it is. We do get to judge you if you do fuck shit. If you go over there and break the rules of engagement, break the law, you get judged, yes.
The government doesn't get to send us into a war zone where the enemy blend in with the general population and go unseen. You don't get to send us into a war zone where they use IEDs and women and children as human shield.
Okay, so, and this is where it's just like so fucking laughable, man, because he's making the Israeli argument, the human shield argument, that yes, we do get to slaughter innocent women and children in Gaza because Hamas embed themselves in the civilian population, and even when we know that there's civilians in a building, if there's just one Hamas person in there, then all those innocent people in that building are human shields, and therefore they're fair game. This is just fucking. This is Osama bin Laden logic. That's what this is. Bin Laden thought that the American civilians were fair game because the American system is a democratic republic and you elect your officials and your officials have been doing fuck stuff to us, so therefore you're also guilty. That's Osama bin Laden logic. That's what Two Worlds Collide, gentlemen, right here is that's the argument he's making right now. Parallel to the Israelis and the Al-Qaeda terrorists. And we're going to show another clip shortly where Avi Yemeni and Rakshan, who are, Zionist, pro-Israeli, Israeli firsters, definitely Avi Yemeni anyway, where they're calling this guy out for it, and they have a leg to stand on because they're going, look, you're making the argument, and this guy's supposedly criticised the IDF before for their war crimes, but now he's going to make the same argument in defence of Ben Roberts-Smith and some of these SAS soldiers that, allegedly committed these crimes.
You don't get to send us into a war zone where...
I love how he's just screaming as well, raising your voice and fucking getting high-pitched is going to help get your point across and part of your argument. Yeah.
They strap 13 kilos worth of explosives to 14-year-old boys and blow them sky fucking high. That happened on my trip. You don't get to send us into a war zone on the 29th of August where they get Taliban soldiers to infiltrate the Afghan National Army, which partnered with the Australian Defence Force over there, then turn around and shoot my mates.
Yep, that definitely happened. They call it blue on green attacks or green on blue attacks or something like that. That's the issue with invading foreign countries based on lies. Some of the people that you're working with are going to turn on you. Shouldn't have been there in the first place, and that's not on the individual SAS soldiers. I'll give those guys that. Our government sent them over there at the behest of the neoconservatives in America, and George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and all that stuff. But the government is wrong for sending them there in the first place, and actually, there's government officials that should be fucking held accountable for that. John Howard, Kevin Rudd, Julia Gillard, Tony Abbott, Scott Morrison, Anthony Albanese. All these guys should be held accountable and probably should all be in prison for going along with this propaganda, these lies. You guys helped lie us into war. You guys helped lie us into invading a foreign country and sending our bravest young men to go fight and die and get their fucking legs blown off for what? For nothing. And at the end of it all, when America finally pulled out and Australia and the allies, the Taliban rolled right back in, and now they rule the country once again, and they're better armed. They're better armed now. They have all this fancy new age US military weaponry that they left behind. So it accomplished absolutely nothing except for the death of our brave young men and billions, trillions of dollars wasted.
Killed 3 in one night. You don't get to send us into that type of war zone and then judge us for what happened over there when we get home.
Again, yes, we do if you break the law. You're not allowed to break the law. It's as simple as that. Murder is murder. It doesn't matter if you're a government official or you're a soldier. You can't murder people. That's it. Nothing more to say. If you're defending yourself, if a foreign country invaded Australia, and then you kill people, you kill the invaders, that's in self-defense. That's not murder. But you go into a foreign country and you are killing people that aren't part of the Taliban, that are just some fucking random goat herder that you've decided to round up and put them down on their knees and then shoot them in the head. That's murder. That's breaking the law. Not allowed to do that. Gonna judge you for it.
And guess who was the first respondent on the
Oh, and the least of your worries should be being judged by the government and by the Australian people. Like, you're going to be judged by God. You got to live with that for the rest of eternity.
The 29th of August. That's right. Ben Robert Smith and his team were the first one to fly in and make the scene safe. You don't get the right to spend $300 million over the past decade to send the AFP into Afghanistan to go on a witch hunt. You know, the AFP and our government have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to Afghan nationals over in Afghanistan to write witness statements against Ben Robert Smith. Did you know that? Do you know that's where your taxpayer dollars are going? Do you not think that
like he's making it out like it's some massive scandal, like, but the thing is like, if these allegations are true and Ben Robert Smith is guilty of murder and some of these other SAS soldiers as well, then none of that really matters, does it? Because you did the wrong thing. And also, there's, I don't know, we probably need to like go through like the court documents and whatever, but I don't think it's exactly as the Two Worlds Collide guy is stating. Let's put it that way.
Afghan national over there who is poor as hell would take the money and just write whatever they want, write whatever they're told to. And the one thing with all of this Australia-hating culture has allowed to fester over the past decade. You can't tell me that this isn't...
Okay, the Australian-hating culture has festered over the last decade. There has been a lot of that, probably going back even longer than a decade. But, that's, Aussies being propagandized to like hate white people just because they're white, and because of the fact of like the terrible things that happened to the Aboriginals that were alive when the first fleet came and whatever else, is like a total separate, different fucking topic and argument to the allegations against Ben Robert Smith and what the fuck we were even doing in Afghanistan in the first place. Like, that's just a different thing, man. And in actual fact, I think that like I could make a better argument for I could make a better argument in favor of loving Australia and loving this country, and that's why I don't want our brave men to go fight and die in a foreign nation. Like, I can make an argument that we shouldn't be fighting and dying in foreign nations based on lies, and because I love Australia so much, not because I hate it.
All coordinated with the attack on young men in our society, telling them they're useless, pumping our kids full of hormones and destroying the next generation, trying to tell us that the land we're on is stolen, and now going after our military, going after the tough...
See, yeah, like, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it's not, you can't like lump all these things together. Like, criticism of, like wokeism and just like national shame for what the British did to their Aboriginals, and also criticism of Ben Robert Smith and some of these SAS soldiers and their alleged war crimes. They're separate things. Total separate things. Not at all the same argument whatsoever. But Two Worlds Collide, gentlemen, right here is like trying to lump it all together. That if you are critical of Ben Robert Smith and the SAS, then therefore you're a woke leftist who wants to fucking trans kids. Just retarded, and not at all the argument.
Most courageous alpha males within our society. This is the Australia-hating culture that everyone is talking about. Let me tell you right now. If you want to sit there and judge us, if you want to sit there and say we should have done X, Y, and Z, go fucking spend a day fighting in a war. Go fucking spend a day fighting against an enemy.
Well, there were plenty of people who went and fought in that same war and who aren't being accused of war crimes, who aren't being accused of killing unarmed civilians.
Which uses women and children as human shields. Go fucking fight a day in a war where they get 13-year-old boys and strap 15 kilos worth of explosives to and blow that little fucker sky high. Go fight a day in that. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are you're retarded. But now, and this is why I think. Sorry, I got to get this screen right. This is why I think this argument is so fucking weak, because he's handing pocket aces to the Zionists like Avi Yemeni and Rakshan, who let's go to that clip right now. This is how fucking stupid. He's handing them a massive W right now. And also, like, why it's so stupid on the Two Worlds Collide podcast, guys, because like he's very critical of the IDF and the way they're conducting this war in Gaza, or I shouldn't even say war, this slaughter, this like canned hunt of a captive people in an occupied territory. So let's go jump over and have a listen to this.
The government doesn't get to send Australia's best, most courageous men within our society to go fight in a foreign conflict and then judge us when we get home for what happened over there. The government doesn't get to send us into a war zone where the enemy blend in with the general population and go unseen. You don't get to send us into a war zone where they use IEDs and women and children as human shields. This is the Australia-hating culture that everyone is talking about. Let me tell you right now. If you want to sit there and judge us, if you want to sit there and say we should have done X, Y, and Z, go fucking spend a day fighting in a war. Go fucking spend a day fighting against an enemy which uses women and children as human shields.
And I understand this is like some fucking crazy like multiverse shit, you know, like I'm like commenting on a podcast and then also like commenting on two guys commenting on a podcast. So yeah, I see the fucking inception that's going on.
Go fucking fight a day in a war where they get 13-year-old boys and strap 15 kilos worth of explosives to and blow that little fucker sky high. Go fight a day in that. What's your thoughts?
I 100% agree with everything that he said there. But I cannot help, Avi, but see the hypocrisy in some of the things that Sam is saying there. Because that standard, especially on some of his commentary around accusations against the IDF, for instance.
I also served in the exact kind of war that he describes there, where they use women and children as human shields. I've watched all that, probably more than Sam bloody Badford has ever seen. I saw it all. And I agree with every freaking word he just said there. But he doesn't apply that same energy when it's not politically safe for him to.
See what I'm saying? He's just handing the pro-Israelis a massive win here. Yeah, like, that's why this argument's so fucking dumb. Like, innocent civilians are not fair game. You can't, no matter how much you try and fucking lie and tell us that they're human shields. It'd be like, I mean, Dave Smith has made this, like, analogy before, but just say, like, you know, hypothetical scenario, like, I mean, and we've seen this play out in movies, right? So, say, like, a bad guy is, like, fucking robbing a bank, and then all the cops rock up and they're outside and they got their guns drawn, and hang on, I'll go back to full screen. They've got the guns drawn, pew pew pew. Yeah, so the cops are outside and the robber's in the bank anyway, and then he realizes that the robber realizes that he's surrounded by the police outside, and there's like no way that he's gonna be able to get out alive. So what he does is, the robber, he grabs an innocent person. He grabs an innocent woman, right? And he's using her as a human shield, like this, and got a gun to her head. And he's like, fucking let me out or I'm gonna fucking kill this person. So he's literally got a human shield, right? This is the argument that like Avi and all that want to make, and as a justification for that's why it's okay to kill innocent civilians, because they're human shields. But so the robber's got a woman, using her as a human shield, gun to her head, surrounded by cops, and he's saying, fucking let me go or else I'm going to fucking kill this person, right? And then just imagine for a second that the cop just shoots the woman in order to get the bad guy. What's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with that is that, well, now that cop's also a bad guy because you can't just fucking kill innocent people. It doesn't fucking matter. Human shield, you don't just get to fucking kill them just because they're being used as a human shield. Sorry. That's kind of how morality works.
Do it.
Who do these people think they are? Honestly, who do they think they are? Do these people think they're above?
All right. So now they're showing a clip of, I guess his name's Sam. I think I heard Avi say his name was Sam. So they're showing a clip of Sam, the Two Worlds Collide podcast guy, and his criticism of the IDF. And let's have a listen to this because, I do have to agree with Rukshan that it's like very fucking hypocritical. And I don't agree with Rukshan and Avi on their fucking, on their stance on the Israelis, but they're definitely right that Sam's a fucking hypocrite here.
Of the law? Do they think they're above decency? Do they think they sit above everyone else? Because the last time I checked, rape and torture, that was a bad thing, right? Not to be celebrated like badges of honor.
I don't want to make light of it and laugh, but when you listen to the way that, he's like, who do these people think they are?
Just apply what he just said there about the Israelis. Put on Ben Roberts-Smith.
That's what the left is.
Exactly.
That's what the lefties in Australia are saying at the moment about Ben Roberts-Smith. They're like saying, well, he's not above the law. Who do these Australian soldiers think they are? These war criminals. Like, that's how.
And just to be fucking clear, fuck yous, just because I'm anti-war doesn't mean I'm a leftist, all right? So I know right now it's like fucking, there's a lot of left-wingers like, against these wars and supporting the anti-war movement. I also support the anti-war movement, and I'm happy to to coalition with anybody who's also against war. But that doesn't also make me a leftist, right? So fuck it. Just to be clear, fuck is I'm not a fucking leftist, all right? I'm an anarchist. I'm a fucking free market anarcho-capitalist in the Rothbardian tradition, right? And I love Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. So that's where my moral compass comes from. Okay, what else have we got? Alrighty, let's play some of the Four Corners expose on, the SAS soldier alleged war crimes.
Other members of my troop back in Australia, they did used to joke about how the same serial number was in every single photo of a dead Afghani.
So the same serial number on a gun?
Yeah. So, inferring that somebody was planting these AK-47s.
And this one gun kept popping up, did it? That was the joke?
That was the joke, yeah.
For years, allegations of war crimes have swirled around Australia's special forces in Afghanistan, but they've never been proven. Tonight, for the first time, footage obtained by Four Corners shows the unlawful killing of an unarmed Afghan civilian. It's May 2012, and the soldiers of 3 Squadron SAS are heading north from their base on 2 Black Hawk helicopters. Their destination is a village called Dejazi Hasanzi. The target is an insurgent bomb maker. The helmet camera footage you're seeing is from the SAS patrol dog handler, and what you will see next could result in charges of war crimes.
Just to, I believe this is the case. What you're about to see is footage of Ben Roberts-Smith. He's not named in this because I guess this was released in fucking 2020 or 2021, and the case is was ongoing and whatever. So that's why he's not named. But I believe from everything that I've seen and the charges against Ben Roberts-Smith is that this is one of the things that they're fucking accusing him of.
The dog handler heads out into the lead with the patrol scout, who we'll call Soldier C.
Oh yeah, and just back to the Two Worlds Collide podcast guy, like he's like claiming that fucking the only evidence against Ben Robert Smith is like these testimonies, from Afghans that the AFP had paid a heap of money to get to testify against him, but that's not true because here's footage.
Sam's over there.
They are being guided by the two Black Hawks ahead, whose crew have spotted a man in a field. The dog, named Quake, is then let off the leash.
Hey, come! That's in a car! Quake down!
The dog handler's gun is trained on a figure in the distance, who drops down into the field. At the field, the dog handler and Soldier C come across a young man amongst the wheat, who's trying to fight off Quake.
Quake! Leave! Quake!
In the man's hand appears...
Oh, and I've got to say quickly too, I've been bitten by one of these fucking Belgian Malinois or, Belgian Shepherd, to put it in a simple term. And I got like nipped. I got like fucking like barely fucking nipped, dude. And it, so these, I can tell you firsthand, like these dogs are fucking vicious, man. I would not want to be on the receiving end of just being ragdolled by one of them.
appears to be a set of red prayer beads. No weapon or radio can be seen. The Afghan is compliant and quiet on the ground.
Down.
As the dog is called off, Soldier C trains his weapon on the Afghan from very close range. He then turns to the dog handler.
I don't know, mate. Drop this gun! Quake, no! Quake! Stop! Leave! Quake! Leave!
So there you go. Just killed him, man. He unarmed fucking Afghan, just fucking murdered in cold blood. We're not allowed to criticise that, apparently, according to Two Worlds Collide. We're not allowed to fucking criticise them. This is war. This is war. War is hell. Don't you know? You're not allowed to criticise us. We got sent over there, and even if we break the law, like, don't criticise us. Yeah, sure, we're meant to uphold the law, and that's the kind of the whole point of fucking going and invading there in the first place is that the Taliban broke the law, so we're going to go fucking, we're the world police along with the Americans. But don't criticise us if we break the law. Like, we're allowed to do it.
Heal.
3 shots from close range. The Afghan is dead, and Soldier C walks off.
No. Heal.
The whole thing, from landing to killing, takes less than 3 minutes.
Heal. Heal.
So this is a video in 2012 when we're in Afghanistan, and I just want to show you what happens in this field and just see what you know about it. So he shot the Afghan. Did you know about this? Or
I didn't know.
You haven't seen this before?
I have not.
And do you know who those soldiers are?
I do, yeah.
And he was well held, and he's turned to his superior officer over here. He said, "Do you want me to drop this cunt?" And he says that 3 times. In your mind, what do you make of that whole situation?
It's just a straight up execution, really. Yeah, he's asked someone of a superior rank what he should do, but it comes down to the soldier pulling the trigger, and it's a straight up execution.
4 Corners track down a neighbour.
Heavy, dark, evil shit. I don't like fucking having to watch this or show you guys and make you guys watch this, but this is the nature of what's going on and what's being debated at the moment. And so you need to see it. You need to know what's going on. So this is a book. I think this is from the same guy who did the 4 Corners thing, but Mark Willisey, Rogue Forces, an explosive insider's account of Australian SAS war crimes in Afghanistan. And, it's real fucking dark and full on. There's a lot of information in here, but this is where I learnt about the rules of engagement, that every SAS soldier has a red card where they carry what lawfully they're allowed to do, what the law is while they're in this foreign country, Afghanistan. And you're not allowed to just murder unarmed civilians. You can't just perform executions like that. But yeah, I don't know, there's like a bunch of pictures in here of like different sort of things. Like I think this is like some SAS sort of training in Australia where they like drop them in the middle of the country, and then they've got to sort of make their way back. And I think is it a goat or something? Butchering a goat during the SAS selection course in the Western Australian desert. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, you're not allowed to judge us while we're in a foreign country. War's real hectic while they're fucking just like partying it up and doing naked twister on the fucking base. Where's this? Playing nude twister in Grado, the SAS boozer at the regiment base at Camp Barracks in Perth. Okay, so that's in Perth. That's not in Afghanistan. But there's other photos of where they're like in the bases in Afghanistan. They're just partying it up, drinking out of a prosthetic leg that they've stolen off some guy, probably after killing him. And then the other thing too, which is interesting, is like, so when the SAS go out on these missions, like they do these night raids or whatever, or these raids, there's like the, I don't know what they call it, but like there's like the actual like trained lethal soldier. I mean, a lot of them, they've all got guns, but like the main guy who's like going in, fucking all guns are blazing. And then there's a medic, someone to treat, either our soldiers or anyone that we capture or whatever, because obviously we're not always, the Australian SAS aren't always going to catch just bad guys. Sometimes there's good guys caught up in the mix too, as Two Worlds Collide would refer to them as human shields. But if like someone who isn't, a fucking enemy gets captured and maybe gets injured by a dog, then the medic's there to like treat them. So, and that's part of like the Geneva Convention and international law, that like even when you like take prisoners, you got to fucking take good care of them, even if they're the enemy, right? So yeah, there's some other pictures here. Just like different sort of pictures of guys over in Afghanistan. Some of these guys in these pictures are like SAS soldiers who have testified against, Ben Robert Smith and some of these other guys, SAS soldiers that are accused of war crimes. There's Soldier C there. I don't know. I guess Soldier C was in that video that was just shooting that unarmed civilian. So that might very well be Ben Robert Smith blurred out right there. Okay. What have we got going on here? Bit of poker, bit of dress-ups, bit of fucking boozing it up. The top, this one here is an SAS soldier dressed as a Viking at a party in the Fat Lady's Arms at the Australian SAS base in Tehran, Kuwait. On the wall is 3 squadron poster with the motto, drink, jump, fight, shoot, and root. Can't judge us. You can't judge us while we're over there, all right? You cannot judge us. This picture down here, an SAS soldier in blackface and dressed as Mr. T. That's actually hilarious. That's actually great. I do endorse that, Mr. T. Mr. T. At the Fat Lady's Arms, the bar would become notorious for heavy drinking, with some hangovers, SAS soldiers needing to be bagged with an IV drip in the morning after big sessions so they could go out on operations. And then the last picture here, around the poker table, playing poker at the Fat Lady's Arms on a table emblazoned with the red back, bushranger and bull symbol of 1, 2 and 3 squadrons SAS. One special operations soldier remembers the stacks at the table sometimes running into thousands of dollars. Can't judge us. Some pictures of like some Afghans, and I believe they're family members of some of the guys that got murdered. And then some still shots of that footage that we just watched of that innocent Afghan on his knees with red prayer beads in his hand getting executed. You cannot judge us. Some more pictures. Yeah, so here we go. So here's like, a medic there, SAS medic, treating an Afghan who's probably been bitten by a dog or something like that. I'll read it. The Australian SAS medic Dusty Miller treating an Afghan punched in the face by SAS Soldier B and mauled by an SAS dog. It was the worst broken nose the medic had seen. Soldier B claimed the Afghan had gone for his sidearm. Okay. And there's some more footage of SAS medics treating Afghans, believe it or not. A lot of Aussies probably didn't even realise that we had medics, in the SAS doing that sort of stuff.
Directly to the front, 2 guys moving right to left, behind the wall.
They're going to look back and see that we were the guys in there murdering and invading and not there to do something that is honourable.
They are Australia's elite special forces, the lethal operatives of the Special Air Service Regiment, the SAS. For more than a decade, they were on the front lines of Australia's longest war.
You try to look back at your career as try and be proud of it, but then you've got all these incidents. You see yourself as part of the bad guys.
Yeah, which one you can't start, which one not?
Yeah.
Tonight, the deadly operations in Afghanistan with Australia's secretive SAS.
Rolls up. For fuck's sake. Yeah, get the fuck here.
Revealed in never-before-seen footage obtained by Four Corners. For the first time, a Special Forces operative who was on these covert missions speaks out about what he saw.
The guy had his hands up, and then it was almost like target practice for that soldier. He shot him, twice through the chest and then once through the head as he walked past him.
For years, the secrets about what exactly happened in the valleys, fields and mud villages of Afghanistan have remained hidden. With a major inquiry about to report on suspected war crimes, Four Corners will tonight reveal the culture of impunity among some of our special forces, as well as proof captured on camera of a cold-blooded killing.
Yeah, anyway. I really advise everyone go watch this. It's Killing Fields, explosive new allegations of Australian Special Forces war crimes. Four Corners. I'll just see if there's because I do remember there was some pretty significant things in some of this footage. Let me just see if I can find it.
When we'd go in, if we found a small cache in an area and it was just in somebody's side room attached to a house, they'd often just light it on fire or blow it, depending on how much time they had. And that would usually burn down the house or blow out a wall.
So, not exactly a way of winning hearts and minds, in your opinion?
No.
Fucking hell. I think I was a bit in the open there.
Often they'd read out the numbers of how many cars they'd blown up, or dogs they'd shot was another one. They were pretty quick to shoot dogs.
And why were dogs shot?
There was a threat to our own dogs, so they were worried about that.
No, get him.
But I did see them shoot dogs that were tied on chains, which were clearly not a threat.
back to you for a stunt.
Kick the shit out of that cunt.
Shut the fuck up. Shut up!
Over time, Braden Chapman became disillusioned with the war and what the Special Forces were doing.
We try and say that we're there to help and the Taliban are bad, but if we go in and we start destroying infrastructure or destroying their private vehicles and burning down their homes, it doesn't really send the right message.
We're in fucking Mogadishu. Fucking smoke.
And as soon as they leave, they're not going to help us anymore. They're just going to run straight back to the Taliban, who usually are not doing that.
Braden Chapman says the information the SAS relied on to capture or kill their targets was often vague.
We would get intelligence briefs. They would be saying stuff like, you know, fist-length beard, wearing Afghani clothes. Just really basic descriptions of people, unless they had a photo, which they didn't always, and more times than not they didn't.
So it could be anyone in the population?
No idea who it is. But most of the time it was a really simple description of the average Afghani man.
By the end of 3 Squadron's 4-month deployment in 2012, more targets had been killed or captured than on any previous Australian Special Forces rotation in Afghanistan.
We were pretty much out every day for 4 months straight. I can't remember the exact numbers, but at the time, I remember someone saying that we captured the most people for an SOTG deployment up until that time.
So you were busy?
We were busy.
For the Australian military, the war in Afghanistan was centred on one province, Uruzgan. For 13 years, the Australians fought to stabilise this poor and mountainous region, losing 41 soldiers along the way. The Special Forces would do the vast bulk of the fighting and killing, conducting thousands of operations.
The vast majority of our special operations soldiers are highly professional and, quite frankly, remarkable men. Highly trained, highly professional men of high integrity who have done a very, very demanding job for us in very arduous circumstances.
Glenn.
Yep, it's just a shame that the whole thing was based on lies and we shouldn't have been over there in the first place. So, heads have got to roll. Heads have got to roll in our government. You know, current and former prime ministers and people in their cabinet in positions that are responsible for military deployment. All these guys have got to get in trouble. All these guys have got to go to jail because they are guilty of if Ben Roberts-Smith is guilty of war crimes, then these guys also bear responsibility. As Scott Horton says, it's not what does he say? It's like not a quantity but a quality. It's like multiple people can be guilty of the one thing. You can divvy it up as much as you want. If someone's involved and they're guilty, then they're guilty. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks everybody for listening. Follow me on X at Arabian Pleb, or don't, whatever. I don't really care. This is like therapeutic for me, and also a good, like I was for a while there, and I still try to every so often, but like keep a journal, write notes and stuff. But I mean, this is like probably a better way of doing it, like a video journal, and you can actually hear my voice and see me, as opposed to just reading words that I wrote down on a bit of paper. So it'd be nice to one day look back at this and maybe, someone in my family being able to dig this up as well. And I'm very proud of it. Much love, everybody. Forgive your trespasses, love your enemies. Much love, everyone, and take care. Peace out.